nothing but faith. There's things far too great that I want to accomplish. I'm hoping 25 hours a day, but something good works out, and I'm just like, dang. Think everything's gonna be okay. Yeah, I'm like, dang. Think you might just know the way. I'm like, dang.
Welcome to Dang.
Yeah, welcome to Dang. I'm Todd Bridges, and you're Bettijo Bridges.
Yes.
Thank you for being my co-host in this wonderful evening or afternoon or morning of whatever we're doing.
Whenever they're listening to it.
Yes, whenever they're listening to it. Okay, so today we're going to talk about relationship, right? Relationships.
Yeah,
okay,
that sounds good.
Well, let me tell you what the AI, I Googled the AI.
Yeah, because we're not experts, are we?
No, we're not experts, but I think when you're in a relationship, though, I think you are an expert if you can make it through it.
That's true. That's true. Well, then what does that say about if we've been divorced?
That's different. That gives you a swayed view on what's it like to be divorced.
And so now we're like in a graduate course of study?
You're coming in with a whole different opinion.
Yeah. So we turned to, like anybody who's not an expert, we Googled it?
Yes. We Google everything. Everybody, today is the Googling world, but today's Google is different.
And you like voice Google too.
Yes.
You like to do the voice.
Yeah, I'm not going to write it. It takes too long. But when you do Google, it comes up now with AI.
Yeah.
So AI is writing stuff for you.
Yeah.
So this AI says men and women in relationships can have different needs, communication styles, the ways of handling conflict. However, healthy relationships between men and women involve honesty, trust, respect, and open communication. We believe in that, right? That's true. Okay, but both partners should feel comfortable making their own decisions. Doesn't work that way.
That sounds pretty good.
No, it doesn't work that way. Making their own decisions, sharing decisions, and respecting each other's independence. Okay. Nah, let's cut
No,
that.
that's true.
It is true,
What's
but
not
that's
true
not
about
what. Because I'm not being mean or anything, but women like us to go with their decisions and what they say. That's what happens. If we decide to do our own little thing or go, then they get, it's better if you just agree with her. It doesn't mean you have to do it, but you have to at least agree with her. That's what I feel.
That comes from the Todd Bridges relationship
That's the Todd
school.
Bridges relationship school of agreeing and not really doing what they want, but just agreeing to it. Yes, you are
That's class
so right.
number one. Just agreeing.
And you'll probably get divorced for doing that, but but it's a start. You got to start somewhere.
Oh boy. We should have probably had an expert on today.
Exactly,
huh?
instead of us talking about it. But still, we are. I think when you're in relationships, it's a lot of work.
They are a lot of work.
And, especially when you drop kids into the equation.
Yes.
When you drop kids into the equation, it changes everything.
I know. A lot of my friends, I was thinking about, a lot of them are really blessed. Not very many of them are divorced. I have plenty of that are too, but like the ones that I've been talking with, and they're just, how is it? I'm like, it's going, it's good. And they kind of were like, well, and I'm like, well, imagine your first year of marriage, only how about you do it in front of a bunch of teenagers making comments?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's what it's like,
Yeah.
Because I think looking back, this is my second marriage, right? So my first marriage, I think it was easier.
Yeah.
Because, like, you didn't have the peanut gallery, given.
Well, because usually the father, they know the boundaries they can take.
Well, I mean, your first marriage, you don't, generally, nobody's situation is ever the same. But in my first marriage, I didn't have kids around for that first year of my marriage. Did you?
No.
Right? And there's still plenty to adjust.
Yeah.
And when I told my friends that, they got it. They'd be like, oh yeah. Like that first, everybody kind of understands. Like marriage, I actually think that's why in our society people are going away from marriage so much is because there is something that changes after you get married, but I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, I don't
that
think
it changes.
it is.
I just think it means that you're in this, and it kind of starts bringing to the surface things that you gotta deal with and work through. And I mean, it's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure.
No, but also you got to realize when you have kids, like you said, the peanut gallery.
Yeah.
They're going to tell you, even though they've never had relationships or how to be in a relationship, they try to tell us how to have a relationship.
And it goes deeper than just that, right? There's a lot of, obviously, children of divorce have survived that. There's going to be a lot of hurt there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fear.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tricky. It's been tricky.
Yes.
And I think we've just passed our 2-year mark, and we have some takeaways maybe.
That's 2-year mark we passed? Oh, that's too long. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. We have. So yeah, well, September
We
1st
have.
will be our anniversary. So no, September 21st. Sorry.
September
I almost got in
21st.
trouble there, guys.
We picked that for the song.
Yes.
Remember?
Commodore sings.
Do you remember the 21st night
Yep.
of September?
That's right.
And now we always will remember.
That's
that.
right.
We picked that to make it easy for you to remember our anniversary,
Yes.
right?
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I forget dates. I don't remember birthdays very well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm terrible with birthdays. I had to start putting them in my phone. Now that
Isn't
you
it-
put them in your phone, it reminds me.
That's an
an
Earth, Wind, and Fire song. What
It
did
sure
yeah,
is.
right?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Earth, Wind, and Fire song. You're right.
Yeah,
not
because you'd said
Commodores.
something else, and I was like,
Yeah.
that doesn't
It's not
seem right.
Commodores. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
No,
Yes.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yes.
Commodores are good though.
I had an album with the lead guy in Earth, Wind, and Fire.
You did?
Yeah, and I had an album back when I was 12, and it was supposed to be released, but he lost his label to CBS Records, and they got rid of everybody. There was so many people in that.
Oh my
that
goodness,
track.
I would love to hear
Oh,
those songs.
it was a lot of good songs.
Do you think they're out there somewhere?
They're out there somewhere?
They're locked in some vault
I can't
somewhere?
say they're not out there in the in cyberspace.
You
They're-
can't
they're
stream
out
them.
there. No,
We've never found them, right? But
I've never found them. No.
oh, somebody out there
Because it was
hear
on
this
it was on
and help us
videotape.
find those.
It was on video.
It was-
I mean, it was on tape. Like
Oh, not videotape, but
no,
like you laid
on-
down in a
yes.
studio, you
And then
recorded a whole.
and then they put it on cassette tape. So how long
It
does
was the
cassette tapes last?
Well,
Not that long.
I'm sure the master tracks weren't on.
They have the master tracks, but
cassettes.
we don't have those. I don't think I have those.
You know,
so.
I would love to hear those songs. How many songs were there?
I think 10. I think
10?
yeah. The A side and the other side.
Could you sing us one right now?
No, I can't sing anymore. When I was 12, I could sing because I had a voice, but once my voice got deep, I couldn't sing
I
anymore.
like your voice now. And actually, that's not true. You sing really well. You sound like
Yeah.
Louis Armstrong when you sing along to stuff. I love it. I have been trying to coax you. We have a daughter that does music, and
Yes.
I have been trying to coax Todd to record some songs because
No.
he actually sings really well. He just
I
doesn't
don't
think he does.
I don't think I do.
I don't sing
and
very
I sing
well.
well, and they should do. I sing well in the shower.
No, you told me I don't sing
I know,
well.
honey, you don't
Remember?
sing well, no.
I was singing along because I love singing along
Yeah.
to songs when I'm driving.
As long as you enjoy yourself.
And
you can sing.
you were like, "Honey, don't sing."
Why?
it was
Because
so
you
mean.
messed us.
I
wasn't
remember it
being
was so
Well, I
mean.
wasn't trying to be mean. I just want you to enjoy the music without ruining it with your voice or my voice.
Hey,
So,
that's part of the enjoyment is singing
yes.
along.
You probably sound great. Have you sung in the shower before? Because you sound great in the shower.
I do sing in the shower.
Everyone has people who sing in the shower. You always sound great because you have the reverb and echoes off the walls and all.
Yeah, it does sound. You know, well, I often get my best ideas when I'm in the shower.
Do you?
There's something about the way the water's stimulating your brain. I get a lot of good ideas.
Oh,
in the
that's the
shower.
only good idea you get in the shower, or other things. You better not get those. Well, wait. So tell me about.
I'm not being dirty here. I
Oh,
just
okay.
mean like really.
I was
like,
thinking dirty. Sorry.
No, that's not what I meant.
I know.
I mean
should have
like
known that
good
you were thinking
ideas.
that, but I was thinking something else. Okay.
Okay.
Let's talk about relationships. So
Let's
let's talk
do.
about how we feel about it. So you start.
Me?
What do you
Okay.
think is the difference between men and women?
Oh, you know, there's definitely differences between men and women, but I think it's probably unfair to just characterize it like that.
Okay.
That's why it drives me crazy when you're like, oh, women. And I'm like, no, not women, Betty Joe. This is Betty Joe right here.
Then I should go, Betty Joe. That's what you do then, right?
Well, that would be better. I don't know. Somehow it's more irritating for you to be like, women.
Because you are
Because
you're a
I
feminist.
think it's
in
too
your-
general
But you are
to-
a feminist in your heart. You're not a
little
feminist,
bit.
but you're still a feminist in your heart a
Well,
little bit. So.
okay, here's where I stand with that,
Okay.
okay? I actually think that women should have the control and the authority over their lives. Like, I think there's some really important things, some strides as a society that we have made where women can be independent and they
Yeah.
can actually pursue goals and dreams. I think
Yeah.
that all, so yes, in those ways, I am a feminist. I totally am.
Yeah.
Right? I don't like being told what to do.
No, you don't.
I definitely think for myself.
But do you like telling other people what to do?
I don't. It's not like I get joy or derive joy out of
But
telling other
you-
people what to do. But I,
You
I
do
do
want it your-
definitely have
you-
opinions.
You do want it your way.
about how things should go.
I've been married for 2 years. You want it your way. That I do know.
Well, not if everything. Like if you say you want it your way, it's like as a generalization. Like
Okay.
I'm a controlling person. I want everything my way.
it's-
That's
you're
not
not
what
a
it is.
controlling person, but you are the kind of person that would give your suggestion, but you want that suggestion, take it hardly and take it, in stride and do it.
Right. And if you think we should do it a different way, I'm going to expect a reason, not
Yes.
just because I say so.
But
that's not going to fly,
sometimes
right?
men can't tell the reason that you're going to understand.
Well, honey, You're going to have to try.
Okay, it's like, yeah, I will have to try it. Good luck with that one. I'll just keep doing what you
Because
tell me what to do.
communication's important, right?
Communication is very important, but communication is hard sometimes when you're not used to, men are not used to communicating.
Yeah.
Because we can't communicate to our friends, to guy friends, about how you're feeling or what you're going through because they'll take that as a sign of weakness. That's the only unfortunate part about it.
Well, going back to the whole feminism thing,
Yeah.
I think where I differ is that I do believe that there are roles that are specific to that go along with being a woman and roles that kind of go along with being a man. And no matter how many ways we try to twist it or jumble it or whatever, literally you just look at the physiology and there are just different expectations and different roles. And I'm willing to embrace those roles. Like when it comes to mothering, I do feel more of a nurturing and there's more of a draw. I actually, after I had my first baby, after I had Adelie, I tried to go back to work and it was really difficult for me to go back in this exact same capacity and hours and time frame. To do it the same way I had been doing it just didn't feel good to me. Okay. Right. And it wasn't even because somebody was telling me one way or the other. I just didn't want to. Yeah. I loved being around her. I didn't want to miss the time. So it's not about oh, this is what you're supposed to do. It's that's what I want. And I think those desires are part of me being a woman, right? I think they're built into me. And so I recognize that and that's why when I've taught my daughters, I said, you know what, you don't want to get pregnant before you're married, not because it's some arbitrary rule, but because once you have a child to care for and take care of, it takes a lot.
Oh yeah.
There is a lot that goes into it. And there's a lot you want to do as a mom that you need that other person that you can lean on, right? That can kind of help. And that's the ideal situation. Not everybody gets to do that, right? Just like, in my life, I haven't been able to do that completely the way that I probably would have liked. And I think that's just natural with life. It doesn't ever go exactly how we plan. But I think I recognize, so that's where I probably differ with some of the classic feminism view, is that I definitely embrace my feminine nature. And I like being a woman. I don't want to be a man. But I definitely don't want to have a man just telling me what to do and thinking that I should do it because he's a man and he told me to. So that's not going to work for me. So
less than that doesn't work for you. So I know you might have. So I just see for me.
And you wouldn't want that from me.
No, I wouldn't. I'd enjoy being married to a strong woman. I enjoy that. I think that where America has changed things, that they think that men don't need those times with their kids, but they do. I think that when I loved raising Spencer.
You said
I loved growing up with Spencer. I loved seeing him do things and taking him to the first event to do things. But I think there are some things that are, because I think a mother, for me, kids' life, a mother should be all around for the first 7 or 8 years. Yeah. And then I think the dad has to take over, because for boys, the dad has to turn the boy into a young man, into a man. And I think with girls, they have to see a father who's a good father, who loves his mother the right way, so that the girls can see that this is the kind of man they want to look for. That's going to treat their mother right and love their mother. Honestly,
I think the ideal would be to have both parents there the whole time, right?
Yeah,
that's the ideal. It's not, but this isn't a perfect world. It's not going to be there. But I think what you're saying, and it's probably got to do a little bit with our, the age difference. Yeah. I do probably think that you felt like when you were raising your kids that the role of the father was kind of marginalized.
Yeah, very much so.
Because I think there was a byproduct of that with the big feminist movement, which was we needed to make changes, right?
Yeah,
so the movement itself, it's not all bad, because there was stuff that needed to happen. There was change that needed to be made. And it's arguably even that we had to go kind of this really far this way to be able to be brought back. I could see that as the natural flow of things. But I do think that I hear a lot of messages now where we're re-emphasizing fathers, and I think that's good.
Yeah.
Because we definitely need both.
Yeah,
of those.
I think a father is very important in kids' lives. And I think the father is the protector, he's a provider, he's a protector. He's I think he's a lot of things. And he also at times he has to be mother, because the times that the mother's not there, he's got to take over that. I think for what I had to learn to do was have sympathy for the kids. That's what I had to learn to do, because I was raised where you were taught not to have sympathy. You were taught that men don't cry. You were taught that kind of thing. But I would would tell my son, it's okay for you to cry, son, but only when you get hurt. You can't cry because you're not getting what you want.
Yeah.
But you can cry, but you also taught him how to keep striving and keep moving forward to get what he wants out of life.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid and don't be shy that you sit in the background while everybody's going past you. You not to grab that pole and go with them.
Yeah, you've done a good job. Spencer's
my son Spencer's
great,
doing well. And
great
my
man.
daughter's
So, I studied at Brigham Young University, and we actually would take classes as part of our curriculum. We had to take some religion classes, and in one of those, I remember learning about relationships, and they were teaching us that one of the ideas of marriage is that you would become more like each other, right? That you enter into the marriage with these completely separate ideas and personality traits and things like that, and that as you come together and kind of unify in your marriage, you will actually take on traits of each other. And it's meant to go both ways. It's not meant to be like, oh, she's going to become just like him, or he should become just like her. It's that you kind of bring a kind of a coming together where you kind of learn, you see within yourself things that need to get fixed, and they see within themselves things that need to get worked on and fixed, and kind of can be each other's teachers a little bit, but it's painful.
Well, yeah, I think that like what I had to learn to do sometimes was just to try to really hear you out. But I'm serious. When you're talking sometimes, I hear this. Wah, 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 wah. I hear Charlie Brown's teacher. I do. I have no idea what you're talking about. And it's frustrating when you can't figure it out. It's like, what is she saying? I'm like, I don't know. And if I called another guy, most guys are like me, they'd be like, I don't know what she's saying either. I don't get it.
What do you think triggers that? I've always wondered, because I can actually tell when you're hearing the wah, 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 and I've learned to just like shut up and stop talking. It's actually super irritating from my side of things too, when it's like, ugh, I can't get through right now. It's like there's like a wall up.
I think that's why we're supposed to learn how to communicate with each other in their language. Like I have to learn to communicate you in your language. You have to learn to communicate with me in my language.
So we go to therapy, right?
Yes.
We see a therapist, and actually that was one of the most helpful things I think she did for us in the first few months we were going to us. Was she basically said, okay, because I'm a designer, so I'm a Apple computer lover, right? You're a PC guy. And that was a really good analogy. She's like, do you remember back in the, like now computers actually work quite well with the internet and all that kind of, there's not really much of a difference, but I remember in college, especially because I would work on a PC. That's what I had to take to college. My parents had given me a PC, but all of my design classes and things like that, it was all Macs. And so I'd work on something at home, and then it was a pain in the butt to get it to come over to the school computer and work. Like it was just like there was always these issues with the translation between the two platforms, right? And she was like, "This is what I think is happening here with you guys." Right? That we would often get in these fights where we'd be offended and we'd be frustrated, but it was really just a miscommunication, but a miscommunication in form of like our languages, our operating systems are different. Definitely. Do you remember when she said that?
I do remember.
And it was super helpful.
And I couldn't when she was saying that, I didn't understand that either.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I didn't understand it.
But you got it because you're a computer guy. That analogy was really good.
Yeah.
And I think that is actually something that has helped us a lot is when we are starting to kind of butt heads or clash, to kind of roll back and say, okay, what I'm really meaning is this. Like try to explain it in a few different ways to see if one of those inputs matches your, like I think it was like aligning the language. Like in my language, when I hit, command, it still happens to me sometimes if I'm using my Mac a lot and I hit like command copy, command C, like I'm doing a keyboard shortcut. The keyboard shortcuts are a little bit different between a Mac and a PC. So if I come out and I'm on your computer and I'm doing something, it can screw me up, those little key differences. And I think that is a really good analogy for working between the communication between a man and a woman, is just thinking of it like a difference in your platforms. And making sure that that I'm sending the right message, that I'm hitting the right keystroke. Because if you're hearing it and it's getting you fired, it's like, maybe that wasn't the button I meant to push. I'm not trying to.
No, but I don't think that you guys try to push buttons, but you guys often do, with not like, like my thing is when you drive home, you get out of the car, you don't dilly-dally in the car because that's how things happen to people.
Well, your
And
safety. So
yes,
safety is like a
safety is
huge
and that's for me, safety is a huge concern
thing.
of mine.
You're
yeah.
really concerned about
I
safety.
like to be always prepared for something in case it does happen. People go, well, it won't happen, but it does. People that say that are usually the first ones that get shot and killed.
And I think that's
know?
really interesting. So I was like flagrantly unsafe in your opinion,
Oh,
right?
yeah, definitely. Left your doors unlocked all the time. You know, you drive with late at night, instead of going from A to B, you go
I
from
just
A to
don't
B
live
to
in
C
a
to
lot of
D.
fear,
But
right?
But you don't have to live in fear. What you live in is that you keep yourself safe. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Because it's not the fact that if you pass away or something happens to you, you're not going to go to heaven. Yes, you will, but you're going to leave your kids behind, and they're going to be stressed out over you because they didn't make it home. Or if something happens to you, then I'm going to feel like, oh my gosh, I should have been there. So
I think what really helped was that meme you sent me on Instagram a few weeks ago, where you said it was talking about it's my job to protect you,
Yeah.
like as my man, that's my
Yeah.
role. Going back to what we were talking about with the roles,
Yep.
and I heard it differently when you sent me that. I was like, because in the past it's kind of been like, oh my gosh, he's like neurotic about this stuff, like the locking the doors, like, and I get it. I lock the doors now, but it's not just that. Like the lights, you made me add lights in all kinds of places.
Because because burglars are the ones that stand in dark areas.
I get it. And now it's easier for me to just not be irritated by the suggestions and just be like, oh, that's so sweet. He's trying to keep us safe.
Yeah.
He wants us to be safe, and that's his role.
Yep.
So that helped because it finally came through to my operating system in a way that I could recognize it, not like a threatening annoyance.
So should I send you like little memes?
Not
where you
all the
understand
time.
me?
Not all the time. Don't spam me.
I'll be like sending you, this meme means this, and I'll be writing it down and sending you
Well,
that.
actually, sometimes you send me some of these memes, and I'm like, what the heck is he trying to say to me right now? What are you trying to
Sometimes
say?
I just send them to
and
send them.
And you thought it was just funny, maybe,
Yeah.
but like I'm like, there's an underlying message here. We're gonna have to talk about this. I'm not very happy about
what
it.
I will tell you, which is funny, is Spencer and Natalie will send things that are supposed to be funny that we have no idea.
Oh my
that
goodness,
they're funny.
you're so right.
And
okay,
that
there
makes me
is a
laugh.
huge difference in this generation coming up.
Yeah.
They think things are funny.
Yeah.
And remember at Thanksgiving, we were trying so hard. We were even asking them to explain it to us.
Yeah.
Please explain why it's funny, because we want to stay hip and cool,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And we were just staring at them with blank stares like, it's not funny.
Yeah.
We can't find the humor at all.
Ellie and Spencer and Bo and all those guys.
Okay,
what
so-
they think is funny is like something about the get, whatever that was.
Oh, I don't know.
That's just not.
Well, and they are hilarious too, because you guys, you don't know Adelie and Spencer, so you don't have the benefit, but let's try to explain it because it's so adorable. So my oldest is Adelie, and your oldest son is Spencer.
My oldest son is Spencer, yeah.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter is.
Your oldest daughter is Bo, so I shouldn't have said the whole oldest thing. But like basically, Adelie and Spencer are so similar in certain ways that it's hilarious. Like that we would each raise a child and they have these such similarities. It's really interesting. And they both had those fish flops, remember?
Yeah, I cannot believe Spencer actually bought fish flops.
Oh, he wore them.
I know.
And they looked good on him. And then Adelie had the same ones.
Yeah.
They were even the same color.
I know. That's just bizarre to me.
I think it's adorable. I think it's adorable. Yeah. And they have this quirky, they're both really quirky and smart.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Anyway, back to relationships. We keep getting sidetracked into kids.
Yes.
Instead of
relationships.
back to relationships.
A lot of times when I see things completely different than you, and I know I do, because, and not even just protection, just that as what things are meant to be, like a woman's job, like do what you did this morning. You took a picture of your daughter, she's on her way to school, whatever, and you took a picture. This is the first day of this kind of school. That is not something I would think about.
Ever?
I'd be like, have a good time. See you later. I'm not taking a picture.
Well, and I was feeling bad, remember, because I was like, I'm such a bad mom now, because I used to do like a whole, like we'd have a special breakfast.
Oh my gosh, that's just too much.
I went really over the top. And I mean, this maybe wouldn't have warranted it. It's a different kind of school that she's starting. But still, I do feel like I'm just being taxed. I think that's what it is. It's before, when they were younger, there was just a lot more. Now as I'm trying to work and juggle, I got a lot.
When you have 4 kids, it's a lot of work to be doing that for each kid.
Yeah.
But
I still tried.
I know.
And I still want to try.
Oh my gosh. My thing is have a good day at school. See you later. Let me know how it went. You know, it's like, you know, my son, you know, he got a different new job. He was at this one job, but he won the new one, you know, and my advice in the beginning was do not quit this job, you know, apply for these other jobs that what you really want to do. Yeah. You know, and he's a gaming designer, you know, and I tell him, you know, decide what you really want to do and apply for that, but don't quit the job first. Stay with it so you make sure you're secure with this job before you move to the next one.
That's such a good job. A good idea. Like, it's a good strategy.
Yeah. And he did. And he, you know, did really well. And I didn't even know he got a new job. He forgot to tell me, I guess, so.
Yeah. Well, and it's his job he really wants. He's excited about it, right?
Yeah.
So I think part of, like, you were talking about how silly that I wanted to take those pictures, but, like, my whole blog that I used to do, like pagingsupermom.com, you can go check it out if you want. I would share tons of ideas of, like, activities to do with your kids. I was making first day of school signs for a long time that people could print and use with their kids. I have a back to school breakfast that, like, I did all up, like, printables and shared it. I even did some TV spots to promote it. Like, this stuff I feel really deeply and I love it.
Did you which one of your kids were the hardest kids for school? The hardest kids to go to school?
What?
Before your kids were homeschooled, your kids went to, Adley and Piper went to a regular school.
Yeah, they did.
Were they, on their first day of school, was any of them crying and didn't want to go?
I think in kindergarten.
Yeah, that's what I'm in the very beginning,
Yeah,
well,
in the beginning.
Spencer, I could not believe this kid. It was like, here, you know, I'm like, okay, first day of school. I'm like, he's probably going to cry. We're going to make him go in there. And he looked at both of us and went, bye.
And walked in.
I was like, we started crying because he didn't care.
I could see him doing that. I did not cry on the first day of school. I was always happy.
Of your first day of school?
No, the kids.
Oh, the kids? Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I was like, see ya. Myself. I did know moms that would cry, that were sad when the kids were going back to school. That was not me.
Because he just left, you know, didn't care. I thought, man, this kid's ready to go to school. Wants to get away from us.
You were getting a glimpse of him growing up. That's why it was sad. And that's why it is sad. And I get it why my friends would cry on the first day of school. I get it. I was always just like, yes.
But let's go back to relationship. Okay.
All right, sorry.
What were we talking about? For now, you made me forget.
We talked about communications and their roles.
How deep communication you think that it should be between the couple?
Oh, I think as much communication as possible is the best.
And you think that, okay, women want us to be truthful in every regards. But if your wife says to you, how do I look in this outfit? You can't say fat. You can't say that she goes, do I look fat now? You got to go, no, you don't look. No, you don't. So that's a lie.
No, that's a really good one to bring up because we still want the truth, but we want it to be in a very, as truthfully as possible, like very, very brutally honest, but in a kind way. So like does this outfit make me look fat? I would not want you to say, no, honey, you look great if it makes me look fat. I would want you to be like, well, babe, you know that you are beautiful, and that is just not being very flattering on you right now.
I just love the way you said that.
Like
that's something that we wouldn't even think of saying.
Well, that's then you need to work on it, right? Because
how do I look in this outfit, babe? Fat.
That would not work well either.
No, I don't think it would work well.
That would not work well either. But like if you can give the whole truth, I guess that's a good way to put it. Give me the whole truth. It's not you look fat. It's that you aren't fat, but that outfit is not flattering you.
Okay,
like
so
it's not.
I could say that that's not very flattering on you.
You have done stuff like that.
Yes.
You're pretty good at it because in the beginning you did try to lie to me and I'd be like, don't you lie to me.
Yes, I wouldn't tell you.
I need to know what's up. I need to know the truth.
You look like a giant balloon, honey. Get that off you.
Yeah, no. Okay, so how does that, so that was with the communication.
Yes.
That was where that was coming from, huh?
Yes.
There was another thing we wanted to talk about.
Which one?
It was coming out of the last episode. Oh, forgiveness, letting things go.
Yeah, that's
the humility.
I think forgiveness for me has been my toughest challenge because it took me so long to even forgive myself what I had done to myself. So forgiving was something I wanted to hold on to. Yeah. And I used to think, I'm not going to lie, I used to think that when he said, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, I used to think in my head, vengeance is mine, saith Todd.
Yeah. But obviously that scripture was teaching that it is only his.
Yes.
Right?
And that's what I had to learn, that it was only his. and I had to not wish bad things upon people. And that's what I've
Yeah.
learned, is to wish good things on people. And, you know, you see, I think for me, you see people that are doing wrong but they're succeeding. What I've learned now is to know that it's okay. Everyone's day, if they've been bad in the past, everybody's day is coming. You may succeed now in this earthly life, but you're going to have to pay for what you've done of all the damage you've done.
Yeah, like
You
the
know?
Taylor Swift
of
Karma
course.
song. I love that
you know,
one.
And I, you know, forgiving though, for me, I had to learn to forgive. I don't have to wholeheartedly forgive you, but I have to be in acceptance and be okay and not carry my bad negative energy into the relationship with you.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned. So if you do something to me, I'm getting over it a lot faster than I ever have been.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed it or not. I get over it pretty fast.
Oh no, absolutely. Because when we were first married, that was the thing that would drive me the most crazy. Was that even if I didn't mean to offend you, if I offended you, right? Like sometimes I maybe would get frustrated and say something, but sometimes it would just be a misunderstanding. But you would get upset, and then it would last days.
Oh yeah,
It would take you days to get over it. Whereas I am really good at forgiving fast. Like I can be over something within 30 minutes, maybe or less.
You do forgive fast.
I do.
But it's still in your head.
No, I think I can let things go too.
You do?
I do. I definitely do. Especially if I felt like the other person was sorry for it.
Yeah.
You know?
I believe you can do that.
Yeah. But I do think that helped a lot because in a relationship especially, it needs to be more like, there needs to be more understanding and ability to like, oh, that's not really what I meant. Please don't get offended because what I was really meaning to say was this. I was just talking about that with my other friend where she was like talking about how she's arguing with her husband about what she'd said. And she said, if that is what I said, what I meant was this. What do I really have? What motivation do I really have to lie to you about what I meant? Like when it's between, spouses, it's just about communication, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I think we're trying to communicate information and feelings and messages, and it's not perfect. Communication is not perfect.
No.
Right? Like think of if you were to sit down and try to handwrite something out, you're going to end up having to erase or scribble out at least once, probably multiple times, right?
Well,
and I think communication out loud is a similar thing where we have to have that ability to be able to flex and forgive because, hey, well, that's not exactly what I meant. Like we need to be able to do those kinds of things where we edit ourselves and we try to clarify.
But I think
and
sometimes,
now you have the space for that.
Yes, but I think a lot of women sometimes want to solve it right then and there. And men are like, no,
I don't know about, again, as a generalization for women,
me.
but if you're talking about me, yes, I do.
You want to fix it right there.
I do. And I
have a time frame of 6 minutes to fix this, and sometimes I can't talk about it because what I may say is going to be mean. So I have to,
you're not ready.
No,
and I have been trying to slow
forward.
it down. That's what our therapist told us. She was like, he needs to speed up and you need to slow down, basically, right? To meet. It's all about meeting in the middle.
No, you have to wait till I'm done 7 days later. No, I'm kidding.
And that's why I was like, well, he is taking far too long for me to wait.
Yeah, I'm sure. See how she thinks he's taking far too long to be waiting. Get it done now.
Yes.
And in my head, I'm like, ugh.
And my motivation for wanting to be done fast is I don't want to feel bad. I want to just get past this.
Yeah.
I want to get on the other side of this thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I could feel bad. It's okay. It doesn't bother me.
Why not? Why do you want to feel bad?
I can't, but I don't feel bad. I just get that out of my head, and I'm feeling bad about the situation, but then I'm okay when I'm in my own head.
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing for me being in the program 31 years, the hardest for me thing was to be able to identify my feelings. That was the thing.
Yeah.
So when I tell someone how I'm feeling, and they say, no, you're probably feeling this. No, I'm feeling this way because I know my feelings now, and I know where they go and how I feel about certain situations.
Yeah, you've only said that to me about 57 times, so I'm beginning to understand that you do not like to have somebody try to stifle your feelings or tell you what you're feeling, which I actually completely agree with that and support that. I just think sometimes you think that's what I'm doing, and it's not really what I'm trying to do.
Well, because I have foresight to see you actually in your brain.
No, because remember when I first finally understood that we were at the gas station. We were at a gas station one time, and you were really upset at me because you thought I was trying to tell you what to feel, but what I was offering you was alternative thoughts. Remember that?
Yeah, okay.
Because I subscribe to this idea that you can control feelings based on what you think, what you think in your mind. right?
kinda believe that,
and if
yes.
you dwell on certain thoughts, they create certain feelings. So why not change the thoughts you're thinking, because they're completely up to you, to thinking thoughts that make you feel better, right? So you don't have to think, just a thought that pops in your mind, you don't have to keep thinking it. You can change it, right?
But sometimes people want to.
But I got, once I got what you were getting, you were like, don't tell me how to feel. And I was like, oh, I get what the nuance of that was getting lost. But that's because it's something I'll do with the kids too, where I was like, okay, yeah, you can choose to feel like jealous and angry at this thing that your friend is doing, or you could think about it like this, or like this, or like this. And with each of those alternative thoughts, you can feel something different.
Yeah.
And
I
it
get
is
that.
helpful.
I do understand that.
It's something I learned this tool actually from a podcast. But I do think it's really helpful. I think it's helpful to be able to have a little bit more control over the way we're feeling
I get that
as
part.
people.
Well, I've learned that I have to control. I know that no one can make me, angry or lash out. I have to control that inside of my own head.
Yeah.
But I do know, like, between guys and women, when guys are talking to each other, we know the limit we can go. Because if you go past that, it's gonna be an altercation.
Yeah.
See, I think sometimes women, when they're talking to men, they don't know that limit. So that's why guys get so frustrated and want to get away, because they don't want anything to happen or take place.
Yeah.
And I think for a relationship, I think that our communications are not on key and they are moving in different directions. But I think for me, what I'm learning is if I take the time to really know you're not intentionally doing this or intentionally saying this, then it makes me feel better when I realize that.
Well, it comes down to trust in your partner,
Yes,
right?
yes.
That's why it's so difficult when trust is
broken.
compromised in a
Yeah,
relationship, because
yeah.
you have to trust that I'm not trying to do something that hurts you or
Yeah,
upsets you ever,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
There's really no motive. Like, even if you look at it just purely out of self-interest level, right? I have no self-interest that would drive me to want you to be unhappy or mad,
Gotcha,
right? Because
yeah.
that doesn't do any good for my life
No,
at
it
all.
doesn't.
I want a happy husband that is happy and pleasant and to be around. So I have no motivation to make you upset. So that as the basis for communicating, you can sit here and go, okay, they're not trying to make me upset. So maybe there is some alternative meanings to what she's saying.
Yeah.
And that kind of creates that environment, but you have to have that trust, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And that could be scary, especially when you've been in another relationship. I think that can be the core of my thing too, is like not trusting that you are having my best interest at heart because of the way that I had been treated before.
Yeah,
right?
a lot of times we bring into relationships, that baggage from another relationship you've had, that something may have happened. And I think that we have to remind ourselves often that, okay, that is not that person. This is a separate person. That has nothing to do with that. And I think at times, yes, I have to do that.
That was really funny for me because I had been married for 21 years. And I know that my marriage ended in divorce, but it was due to infidelity and some loyalty, trust issues, rather than like communicate. Like, I felt like we had actually gone to a lot of therapy and done a lot of work to where I felt like we communicated really well. And so I thought, I got all this experience. I know how to be a good wife. We're going to get married and it's going to be smooth sailing because I'm a great communicator and I'm a good wife. And you've been married, but like, I just thought for some reason, I thought it was going to be so easy but then we got in here and I was like, dang it. None of the stuff that actually worked with my other partner is working here.
Yeah, it's two,
right? Because they're two different people.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh my goodness. Like, for a lot of things and in a lot of ways, it's back to square one.
Yeah.
Because these tactics, like things that I would do to maybe, I don't want to say butter them up because that's not the right thing, but things that I knew would make the other person feel loved or make them feel calm and happy, they won't work for you because you're a different person.
Yeah.
Which totally makes sense, right? But
well, that's one thing I had to learn was that too, that you're not the other person. So things and the same thing you said, that I had to learn to communicate with you in your communication to where you understood it.
Right.
And understand it. So
I still haven't figured out your love language. I have been trying to figure that out for 2 years.
I don't know.
You're kind of like a chameleon. It changes, I feel like.
It does
and it's
change.
kind of unfair because if I could figure it out, I feel like it would make my life a lot easier.
Your
but
communication, your love language is compliments and stuff.
words of affirmation. Which
yes.
I already knew about myself, communicated it to you, and so you had that benefit of a head start. That I was like, this is my love language, honey. Enjoy.
Okay,
have at it.
My love language is multiplied by 5 different ways.
Yeah, do them all.
Do them all
the time.
Yeah, it is.
And you think I'm the difficult one, really?
I'm not difficult. I'm easy. Feed me, sex me, watch a good movie. I'm good.
You are so much more complicated.
I know.
Than you.
I'm way more complicated than that. I know.
But I'm figuring it out.
Are you figuring it out?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. You figuring me out?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm figuring out that, there's things you can, things that I can question or talk about and things I just can't. And, that's the thing you figure out is like, okay, should I put that? Nah, that won't work. She get upset. I won't mention
You're
that.
going to pick your battles? Is that what you're saying?
I definitely pick my battles now, for sure. The only thing I stand my ground on is safety. That's what I stand my ground on.
Yeah.
And I will not divert from that.
And if you bring me chocolate, it usually helps.
Yes, chocolate does help you, with some, yes, chocolate does help you. Dark chocolate.
Yes. Dark chocolate.
Sorry,
is
I'm
the
not
best.
dark chocolate. I'm milk chocolate, so.
No, you're dark chocolate where it counts.
Oh, honey. Oh my gosh, my ankle is swelled up too. That's also the problem.
Oh, your leg is hurting?
No, it's swelled up. I'll show it to you in a minute.
Oh, you have to show me after. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, I think we probably covered what we wanted to cover. Can you think of anything else relationship-wise? I think we need to get a relationship expert on here sometime.
Yes, I want to also that it's where to bury your wife and leave no evidence. I have to show them how to do that. No, I'm just kidding.
You're going to do a free download from your website?
Free download from website. Where to bury your wife and not get caught.
I don't think that would do anything to help.
It wouldn't help anyone, but send me back to jail, and I don't want to do that. That's not fun.
We should talk about jail sometime, huh?
We should.
I think that people would be fascinated by that.
I think they would. Well, I'll just say this, because I know we have to close in a minute soon. I'll just say this. I was in jail with the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, Eric and Delisle Menendez, the 2 kids that killed their parents, and another guy named Nash. Uh-huh. And jail is something completely different. You're never taught how to, go to jail because you're not supposed to go to jail.
Right.
Your parents don't want you to go to jail.
There's not a book written.
There's not a book.
Go to jail for dummies.
Yeah, there's nothing like that. Because you are a
how
dummy.
To survive jail, the user manual.
When you do something wrong, you are a dummy for going to jail.
User guide.
The user guide, 5 easy ways to survive in jail.
No, that would be...
1, don't drop the soap.
No, my gosh. Okay, seriously, sorry, I shouldn't have cut you off. What were you going to say, though?
Oh,
okay, so you go there.
You go there, and nothing prepares you for the encounter you're going to have with people.
Yeah.
And the people that work there, the sheriffs and all that, they look at everyone as being guilty. You know what I mean? That does too. But I will say this in short, there was a deputy who was a Christian, and he quit his job because he didn't like what was going on in the county jail. So he quit. He said, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And he quit, because he didn't like what he saw.
Yeah. Well, if people want us to do a jail episode, they should send us questions.
Yes.
Right in.
Where do they send them to?
They should send them to I can't remember what our dang one is. So just go to the realtoddbridges.com.
Go to Real Todd Bridges and send your questions there. And we'll talk
send it
all
through the
about
contact form. If we get enough, then maybe we'll do an episode about what it was like being in jail.
I could just show you and just let me out. No, I'm just kidding.
No. It is kind of fascinating. It is interesting.
Fascinating I survived. That's the fascinating part.
I'm so glad you did.
But I'm a chameleon. That's what I'm saying. I adapt to wherever I have to be.
Is that why you don't have any love languages?
Probably.
All right. Well,
thank you. Dang. And thank you for being on the show again with me. Thank you for being my wonderful co-host. You're such a beautiful woman, and you're so much fun. And you are
He's getting in his love languages. Did you see that?
I'm buttering her up.
Okay, have a good day, guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. This podcast is produced by my wife, Betty Jo Bridges, in collaboration with Pop Populi, and edited by our daughter, Adelie Ann.
She is also the musician responsible for our theme music, so go check out Adelie Ann wherever you stream your music. Have a question or topic you want us to cover? Send us your suggestions at dangpodcast.com.
If you would do me a quick favor, please subscribe or rate our podcast to make it easier for others to find. Have a great week.
I'm running on nothing but faith. There's things far too great that I want to accomplish. I'm hoping to